Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to tell you about my autumn TBR. So that includes books, but also some of the activities I want to do this for. So if you need a bit of inspiration, I hope this will help you. So with all of that being said, let's get started. So I've shortened it down to 5 books because, to be honest, I read really slowly and I doubt I'll even get to these 5. Whichever ones I get to. It'll probably be 2 maybe. The first one is It Takes a Witch. So this is a cozy witchy mystery, and we basically follow 2 sisters and they discover that they're witches, and then their aunt's boyfriend or husband is found at the scene of a crime when this wannabe witch is murdered. And then the mystery follows on from there because the aunt is convinced that her boyfriend or fiance is innocent, while these girls are not so sure. I like the idea of a cozy witchy mystery, and I really hope it's as good as it sounds. Then I have Slaughterhouse Five by Kurt Vonnegut. So this is an anti-war novel. It's a really famous one, of course, and we basically follow our main character. I believe this is semi-autobiographical to Kurt Vonnegut. So the character is captured by the Germans during the war, and it follows on from that experience. I believe it talks about the time in imprisonment as well as the time post-war, and I think it deals with topics of PTSD, but also the author combines these sci-fi elements into this historic story and this personal story. So I think the author or the character is going to another planet, maybe interacting with aliens. Not 100% sure, but either way, I'm excited to read this. Then we have this one, a fantasy, so The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and in this we follow Quoth, I believe. He is a wizard, and I believe the book opens in a bar or an inn where this wizard basically starts to recount his life story. I think he gets into some crazy, unique situations throughout his life, and in the end he is this notorious wizard. And so I think it's kind of his origin story. But yeah, it's a really big one. So I think if I do read this, it will probably be me listening to the audiobook. Then we have Edgar Allan Poe's A Selection of Short Stories and Poems, which, like the title says, is just the author's, I don't know if it's the most popular or most well-loved, or I don't know how this collection was put together, but some of their short stories and poems. And Edgar Allan Poe is, I think, known for writing creepy, kind of scary, horror-y books. And it is a classic, so I'm hoping it's as good as it's made out to be. And to be honest, I don't know too much more about it, but I'm hoping that I like at least the majority of the stories and poems in here. I don't know if I'll read this kind of all at once or I'll dip in and out of it, but I am looking forward to it. It's probably the most kind of scary book on this list, I'm guessing. And then the last one is another huge book, and that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and this is by Susanna Clarke. So in this book we follow 2 wizards and their rivalry. I believe they kind of perform very different types of magic from each other, and so this kind of rivalry or journey ensues. And I think it's also set in a historical context, so I think it's in 1806, and it follows the war between England and France. And so I think these magicians or wizards or whatever they are, their story becomes intertwined with that of the war. But again, if I am to read this fall, it will be the audiobook. Then I wanted to talk to you about some of the activities and things that I'm looking forward to doing this autumn so that I can really make the most of the season. I think, you know, unanimously on BookTube, everyone kind of loves autumn, but I mean, for me, I personally don't have like the storage space to decorate my flat for Halloween because I wouldn't have anywhere to store the stuff after. So I guess I've been thinking of other ways that I can really make the most of the season. So I wanted to share some of those with you. Some of them are really obvious. Some of them maybe you haven't thought of yet. I'm not sure, but yeah, if I keep looking down, it's because my list is in my notebook. So the first thing was, and I did this last year too, is going to Lush and choosing some of their Halloween stuff. I feel like Lush always has a good selection of new products for each season. So last year I got Toil and Trouble, which was a bath scrub. I got Blood Orange, which was a shower gel. I got Tarantula, I think, which was a shower jelly, and Sparkly Pumpkin, which was, I think, another like shower jelly kind of thing, like a bath slime. And I know I'll go back this year. I don't think I'll get as many things, but if they do bring these back, the ones I would recommend are Toil and Trouble and Blood Orange. Then another thing I recommend is making apple pie or whatever pie you like. I personally love apple pie, and I think autumn's the perfect time to make and eat it. My favorite thing to do is to have apple pie while watching Vampire Diaries, and I feel like being in the setting of Mystic Falls with apple pie is like the perfect afternoon experience. And another thing I would recommend is, this is a game if you have a Switch. I haven't actually played this game yet, but it's something I want to do this for. I guess this is a list of things some of which I've already done last year, but things I want to do this for specifically. And one of them is to play that game. I have already bought it. I think I bought it last year, but it's called Strange Horticulturalist. And it's basically a game where I think it's like it's described as an occult puzzle game, and you own this plant shop, and I think you like brew potions or mixtures. You speak to cats, you join a coven, you join a cult. That's what the description of the game says. So I feel like it would be a nice one to play around fall time to kind of get you in that spooky environment. Also, as you can see, I really recommend candles for the fall. These two are from Bath and Body Works. This is Leaves, which is, I think, the classic fall scent. And then I also have Pumpkin Pecan Waffle, which is more of a sweet scent. I do like them both, but I have to say Bath and Body Works candles can only be lit for a certain amount of time, before which it starts to give me a headache because the scents are so strong. But yeah, I do recommend these two. Another one I recommend if you're looking for a more expensive option is the Diptyque Feu de Bois, which smells kind of like a fireplace, like wood burning, like that dark, like musty scent. It's such a nice smelling candle as well. Then two activities I really want to do this year. The first one is to go to a pumpkin patch. If you live in the UK, I believe Tully's is a good one. I'll kind of link all of these things in the description, by the way. But I believe Tully's is a good one. They do like a nighttime and a daytime, like pick your own pumpkin kind of situation. I feel like the nighttime one would be fun, but so would the daytime. So I don't know which one I want to do, but I don't actually want to pick my own pumpkins because I just don't have anywhere to put a pumpkin, and I know I won't like use it to cook or anything after. So I feel like it will just be a mess or like clutter in my space, but it would still be nice to visit a pumpkin patch. And then the other activity is a movie night. So if you live in the UK, Prince Charles Cinema does this horror movie night close to Halloween, where I think you pay a certain amount and then you go to the cinema and they play 5 horror movies back to back. I think they also do it for mystery movies. But yeah, I think something like that could be quite fun. And of course, I'm sure it's similar things are available in other countries, but yeah, that's the one I know over here. And then some movies I want to watch just at home which I've never watched before, are Dead Poets Society. I also really want to watch Practical Magic and Hocus Pocus because I haven't watched those and I know they're like classic Halloween autumn movies. Then in terms of music that I really want to get into this fall, I don't really listen to music too much, so I don't know if I'll actually do this, but I mean, maybe this will inspire you to do it. And that is to listen to Folklore and Evermore, the Taylor Swift albums. So in terms of Taylor Swift, I'm very much a Fearless and Speak Now person because that's what I kind of grew up with. And I feel like I still know Red a bit and 1989 a bit, but past that point, I'm really not that familiar with her music unless it's like those big songs. But I feel like Folklore and Evermore give me autumn vibes, and I think if there are any more modern albums of hers that I'm likely to like, it will be those. I don't know, I'm the kind of person who, like, when I'm comfortable with a certain album or song that I like, I'll just keep listening to that. I don't really like venture out and try like a new album. The last thing I wanted to recommend was a board game. So it's a board game called Patchworks. I'll insert a picture, but it's like the coziest, calmest, not really stressful, just nice game to play. It's a 2-player game, and there's basically kind of like 2 objectives of the game. The first is, so you and the other player have your own boards, and then there's also a board in the middle. So on your own unique boards, it's kind of like a Tetris situation, but with like these pieces of cardboard, like basically pieces of patchworks. But yeah, it's kind of like trying to fill up as many spaces as you can on your own board, and you have to kind of make them fit. That's why I kind of describe it like Tetris. But then in the board in the middle, and you're moving towards, it's kind of like a spiral, and you both are moving your pieces to the center of the board, and once you reach the center, your turns are done. So it's a balance of the more you progress in that board that you're both sharing, the more pieces you get for your own Tetris situation. But then the quicker you go to the center, it also means that you run out of turns. And there's also buttons in the game. I'm explaining this really poorly, but it's actually quite simple to understand, like, or play once you know the instructions. I just think it's like the perfect fall game for like a cozy night. Those are my 4 recommendations. I would love to know some of yours and what books you're planning to read this fall. Also, if you want to know my book recommendations, so books I've already read, plus TV shows, movies that I recommend for the fall, then watch my previous video. I would love to know the small and simple ways in which you kind of romanticize this season. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.